the headlines of VTV News. Government convenes April law building session. Vietnam and China hold 8th Border Defense Friendship Exchange. And later on in our world news, a US and Japan summit meeting takes place.
Broadcasting from Hanoi, the capital of Vietnam. VTV News starts right now.
Hello there and welcome to VTV News, coming live to you from Hanoi. You're with me, Lina Pham, and here's the top news of the hour. Prime Minister Phạm Minh Chính led a monthly government law-making session on April the 11th, which focused on the draft law on value-added tax and a plan to increase revenue sources and save regular budget spending in 2023. During his opening speech, the Prime Minister emphasized that law building and institution perfection are among the 3 strategic breakthroughs and key tasks set by the government. He pointed out that the government has invested significant effort in building and refining institutions, conducting 25 law-making sessions. In these sessions, they have given their opinions, reviewed and approved nearly 100 law-building proposals and related content to submit to the authorized agencies. He highlighted that hundreds of decrees and circulars guiding the implementation of laws have been issued. He urged for the completion of nearly 20 law projects along with more than 50 documents for the 7th session of the 15th National Assembly. He also called for effective coordination among the agencies in performing these tasks. Continuing his official visit to China, National Assembly Chairman Vương Đình Huệ visited the Pudong New Area and the Pilot Free Trade Zone, or FTZ. He appreciated Shanghai's outstanding achievements in socio-economic development in recent years, emphasizing that Shanghai is a pathfinder and an incubator for piloting many of Chinese new reforms, particularly in trade, finance, investment, attraction, innovation, science, and high technology. Shanghai's success in building the Pudong New Area and the Pilot Free Trade Zone not only directly contributes to China's development, but also provides a useful reference for many countries, including Vietnam. Over the past 10 years, the FTZ has expanded from 20 to 120 square kilometers, where many financial institutions are permitted to issue funds and numerous insurance and securities organizations operate smoothly and quickly. He expressed hope that the two sides will effectively promote cooperation mechanisms, especially the cooperation model between Shanghai, Ho Chi Minh City, and other Vietnamese localities. The 8th Vietnam-China Border Defense Friendship Exchange took place on April the 11th in Lào Cai province. This event is expected to contribute to strengthening the friendship and attachment between the people and the defense ministries of the two countries. The two sides signed a memorandum of understanding establishing a hotline between the Navy of the Vietnamese Ministry of National Defense and the Chinese People's Liberation Army. The ministers discussed future cooperation strategies, which include continuing to promote delegation exchanges, enhancing the defense strategic dialogue mechanism, and fostering cooperation in areas such as training, management, and border protection. Additionally, the two sides organized the painting of border milestone number 102, planted friendship trees at the Lào Cai International Border Gate, and held an inauguration ceremony for the Vietnam-China Friendship Cultural House in Bản Phiệt Commune, Bảo Thắng District, Lào Cai Province. The delegation also visited and gave gifts to Kim Dong Primary School in Cốc Lếu Ward. On April the 12th, the 8th Vietnam-China Border Defense Friendship Exchange Program will continue in Yunnan Province, China. On the North-South Expressway, Ho Chi Minh City, Nha Trang, and Hanoi Vinh have the largest traffic volume. Currently, these two expressway sections on the North-South route are expected to be opened on April the 30th. Construction sites are currently at maximum speed to ensure projects are completed on time.
The progress of bridges, tunnels, and asphalt pavement has basically been controlled. The North-South Expressway project in Diễn Bãi Vọt section is currently at the final stages to prepare for traffic opening on April the 30th.
There are construction days lasting from 18 to 20 hours. We are using successive construction method to complete the entire route on April 25th.
Currently, only the intersection of National Highway 7A and National Highway 46B in Nguyen District, Nghệ An Province still has quite a large volume. This is the decisive point for the overall progress of the project.
We have gathered the most experienced people to coordinate with investors and contractors. Regarding disbursement, previously we have one payment per month. Now we pay 2 times per month so that the contractors have capital to put into the project.
The Diễn Bãi Vọt section of the North-South Expressway Project's Phase 1 is invested in the form of public-private partnership.
We have currently formed industrial parks, urban areas, and tourism services associated with the expressway. This is based on the development plan of Nghệ An Province that approved by the Prime Minister.
The completion of 2 expressway sections, Cam Lâm Vĩnh Hảo and Diễn Bãi Vọt, will have more than 2,000 kilometers of expressways put into operation. This not only solves traffic problems, but also increases the competitiveness of the economy.
Vietnam's cold storage supply is expected to increase by 70% in the next 5 years, according to a report issued by Phie Group, a data and credit rating agency in the cold supply chain market. In recent years, cold storage has become an emerging segment of the industrial real estate market as it constantly attracts investment capital flows. Despite its enormous potential, the cold storage industry will face fiercer competition amid rising supplies.
According to a survey by Phie Group, the country currently boasts over 100 cold warehouses, offering a total capacity of more than 1 million pallets. Cold storage has seen significant investment over the past 3 years, leading to a capacity increase of up to 48%.
Vietnam's cold storage demand primarily comes from 2 main industries, the seafood processing industry and the fresh foods industry. These 2 sectors account for 70 to 80% of the total cold storage demand. We estimate that from 2024 to 2028, Vietnam's cold storage demand will grow by 11% annually.
JLL Vietnam, a real estate services firm, believes that Vietnam is one of the fastest growing countries in Southeast Asia regarding the development of cold supply chains. The firm emphasizes the crucial role of robust infrastructure in driving the cold storage industry. However, it notes that some regions in the country currently have an oversupply of cold storage facilities.
We found there is an oversupply in some areas due to overinvestment, especially in the northern region. However, within the next 5 years, the number of cold storage mergers and acquisitions will increase. By that time, big companies will buy smaller warehouses, thereby solving the excess supply.
In the north, competition among providers is quite fierce, and prices tend to decrease. In the south, it is currently stable. However, the market will become more competitive in the next 1 to 2 years due to a higher supply of cold storage.
Cold storage industry is significantly influenced by seasonal variation in demand for goods and economic fluctuations. Thus, it's crucial for suppliers to strategically choose locations for cold storage facilities based on the type of service to prevent oversupply.
Vietnam has overtaken Thailand's #1 position in exporting fresh durian to China. Durian promises to continue leading in the value of fruit exports to China, as it is predicted that China will soon license Vietnam to officially export frozen durian. According to data from China Customs, in the first 2 months of the year, Vietnam exported nearly 33,000 tons of durian, worth more than $161 million. This is an increase of nearly 2.5 times in output compared to the same period last year. Meanwhile, Thailand exported nearly 20,000 tons to China, a decrease of more than 50% in quantity. Vietnam's durian market share in China by turnover has surpassed Thailand's, increasing from nearly 32 to 57%. China's General Administration of Customs had currently approved quotas of more than 700 durian growing areas and nearly 170 durian packaging facilities in Vietnam. In the first quarter of this year, Vietnam exported over 2.1 million tons of rice, valued at nearly $1.4 billion. This is about 42% increase compared to the same period last year, as reported by the Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development. Consequently, rice is now among the billion-dollar export agricultural products. This is due to increased purchases from primary markets such as the Philippines, Indonesia, China, Ghana, Malaysia, and Singapore. Notably, Vietnamese rice predominated in the Philippines rice auctions in the first quarter. Vietnam is making efforts to control the number of fishing vessels and developing a sustainable seafood industry while fighting against illegal, unreported, and unregulated or IUU fishing. This requires clear changes from localities to quickly remove the yellow card. Recently, 28 coastal provinces undertook efforts to prevent IUU violations as effectively as possible.
Since the beginning of this year, Bà Rịa Vũng Tàu province has reviewed the issuance of numbers to manage nearly 600 ships that had long been unregistered with no fishing license. For ship owners like Dick, this is a huge change.
When I go to the sea, they will know my boat. Back then there was no visible license plate.
The number of fishing vessels installed with voyage monitoring equipment across the country has reached 100%, and electronic logging is being implemented. Ships losing connection for 6 hours will be reported to ship owners, thereby preventing the risk of crossing maritime boundaries.
If there is a fishing vessel that violates the IUU, the regulated fishing port and local government must take responsibility.
This is a ship operating in open areas, but because it does not have to install cruise monitoring equipment, there is a risk of IUU violations.
We hope that the Ministry of National Defense will pay attention and direct support to the provinces in escorting fishing vessels that intentionally violate the IUU.
We will implement 2 new government decrees on fishing vessel registration. Unregistered fishing vessels are not included in the monitoring management system and do not have navigation equipment attached.
The Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development also proposed that there needs to be the participation of the entire political system in preventing IUU violations.
And before we move to the next part of VTV News, let's check out how the Vietnam dong is weighed against other currencies in the world market today. Coming up next, Hậu Giang province braces for droughts and saline intrusion. A Fragile Flower movie premieres in Hanoi. The Mekong Delta is currently experiencing peak heat during the high tide period of the third lunar month. As a result, saltwater intrusion is expected to be quite severe in the next 1 to 2 days. The saline boundary of 4 grams per liter is forecast to reach a depth of 90 to 110 kilometers on the Vam Cỏ River system. For the Cửa Tiêu, Cửa Đại, Hàm Luông, Cổ Chiên Hậu, and Cái Lớn rivers, the salinity intrusion range is approximately 40 to 60 kilometers. This year's saltwater intrusion season may extend until mid-May due to the delayed rainy season. 2 periods of increased saltwater intrusion are expected during the high tide periods from April the 22nd to the 28th and May the 7th to the 11th. Localities should store fresh water during low tide for agriculture and daily living needs. Saltwater intrusion following the west sea tide on the Cái Lớn River and Chak Bang Canal has rapidly increased to an alarming level, penetrating deep into the rivers and canals of Hậu Giang province. Salinity concentrations in some areas have surged to 9.5 parts per thousand. The local agricultural and rural sector is actively promoting measures to respond and protect daily life and production.
Due to severe heat, the salinity of Kênh Lô Sluice Gate has risen to a high level. Hundreds of hectares of pineapples and fruit orchards in Vị Thanh City are at risk of being deprived of irrigation water. Like many farmers, this garden owner is taking proactive measures to protect the safety of his 10-month-old jackfruit plantation.
Normally, it takes me 3 hours to water the jackfruit trees. However, during the dry season, I only water them for 1 hour. This type of tree cannot tolerate salinity or water shortages. Nevertheless, we try our best to conserve water to survive the severe saline intrusion.
Due to severe salinity intrusion, the flow from the Hậu River into Hậu Giang province may not provide enough fresh water to meet daily needs and support production activities. Residents of Hậu Giang are advised to regularly check weather forecasts and take proactive steps to prevent and mitigate the effect of saline intrusion.
In the face of increasing drought and salinity, we direct specialized units to inform people in a timely manner about the drought and salinity situation. At the same time, we also promote other practical solutions to respond to high saline levels.
Over the next 3 days, saltwater intrusions from the east sea tide on the Hậu River will slightly impact area of Châu Thành district and Ngã Bảy city, with concentration below 0.8%. In response to the peak of the dry seasons and to protect fruit orchards from saline intrusions, residents of Hậu Giang province should proactively store fresh water for both production and daily life.
The level of environmental pollution in the Bắc Hưng Hải canal system has recently reached alarming levels. Statistics indicate that approximately 500,000 cubic meters of wastewater are dumped into this canal system daily, severely impacting irrigation sources and people's lives. The field pumping station project at the Xuân Quan sewer, operational earlier than anticipated, has partially mitigated the water pollution issue.
In the last days of March, the river water in Bắc Hưng Hải, Hưng Yên province, was as black as oil. River sections in Hải Dương province were so polluted that dead fish floated along the river banks. After half a month of operating the field pumping station, it became apparent that the water flow had improved. The water circulation helped clean the rivers.
The water is much better now and less smelly.
Currently, 8 submersible pumps are operating stably. The pump station is expected to operate continuously in April to provide enough water to help improve the polluted water in the Kim Sơn Canal.
The more water that can be supplied through the canal system at this time, the better. We will address each segment of the canal that is heavily polluted. We will operate this pumping station to deliver water to each canal.
Irrigation pumping stations in Hưng Yên province are utilizing the opportunity to store water from the Xuân Quan sewer. This offers a valuable backup source of irrigation water particularly in anticipation of possible pollution or drought.
When the Van Jong pumping station ensures a clean water source, we will draw water from here for field pumping stations. This is the water system for the entire area of more than 300 hectares.
This April, the project will be fully completed.
The largest data center in Vietnam was inaugurated on Wednesday by Viettel Military Industry and Telecoms Group. The center is the 14th facility in Viettel's network. This cutting-edge center boasts a high capacity, housing an impressive 60,000 servers, and is specifically tailored to cater to the evolving demands of the development of artificial intelligence. This data center is committed to utilizing renewable energy sources, ensuring that 30% of its electricity consumption is sustainably generated. Additionally, it guarantees unparalleled security with a 5-layer physical safety protocol, the highest safety standard to date. According to the provisions of the telecommunications law, data of state agencies must be stored in Vietnam, so data centers will play an important role in protecting personal data in Vietnam. Constituting over 31% of Tra Vinh province inhabitants, the Khmer community in this region has a vibrant spiritual life centered on the safeguarding of cultural heritage, traditions, and age-old rituals. Among their treasures are the 143 Khmer pagodas, each embodying the unique architectural style of the Khmer people in the south. Among these sacred sites stands one of Tra Vinh's ancient pagodas, with a history spanning over a millennium.
Nestled in the picturesque surroundings of Ba On Pond and the Khmer Cultural Museum, Ung Pagoda is a must-visit destination in Tra Vinh province. Viewed from a distance, the pagoda's tower-shaped architecture soars skyward, exuding a sense of magnificence and solemnity.
I also really like this pagoda. The scenery and architecture are beautiful.
Historical documents indicate that Ung Pagoda was established in the year 990 and expanded to its current size in 1842. Although the temple has been renovated multiple times since then, the main hall largely maintains its original features. The main hall of the pagoda is supported by 18 pillars made from precious wood. Inside, the spacious main hall houses 12 vermilion lacquered, gilded wood pillars, each intricately decorated with images of dragons.
This is my second time visiting here. The Khmer pagodas have distinct features. They are very beautiful.
When I enter the pagoda, I can tell that the pagoda is imbued with the architectural hallmarks of the Khmer people.
Standing firmly over the passage of time, Ung Pagoda is the pride of the Khmer people and the Tra Vinh ethnic community due to its rich artistic values in architecture, painting, and sculpture. This religious site is an unmissable spot for tourists visiting Tra Vinh, a land known for its Khmer pagodas, tree-lined streets, and astonishing landscapes.
The premiere of the movie A Fragile Flower took place in Hanoi on Wednesday evening. The film, set entirely in the U.S., has won many awards at international film events. It is also the first Vietnamese film to be dubbed in both English and Hindi, and is expected to premiere in India after its domestic release.
A Fragile Flower received 9 awards from international film festivals, attracting significant public interest for its premiere in Hanoi. Many fans and movie enthusiasts arrived early to interact with the production crew.
I'm excited. I flew all the way here from Germany to attend the premiere of this movie.
The movie was shot entirely in the US. I hope the movie will have eye-catching shots.
A Fragile Flower partially reflects the nuanced lives of Vietnamese artists abroad, as well as successful Vietnamese people in America. The film's protagonist is Tak Thao, a young female singer. Her exceptional voice and stunning beauty swiftly catapult her to fame, bringing her to the pinnacle of success. However, offstage, she grapples with the whirlwind of fame, love, and money.
In the role of Thạch Thảo, audiences will see a completely new Maya. The most fertile point is not her appearance, but her life and inner thoughts.
Only when I directly approach the audience to listen to them after the film can I gain experience and understand what value the work I created brings to the life. Many people cried, and I'm very happy.
This is the only Vietnamese film shot entirely in the US. It features a series of impressive scenes from 2 actual concerts recorded live. This film includes 15 newly arranged songs. A Fragile Flower will officially premiere in Vietnam starting April 18th.
Coming up next in our world news, US-Japan summit meeting takes place. And EU Parliament adopts new migration pact. Japanese Prime Minister Fumio Kishida is on an official trip to the U.S., where he is having an important meeting with U.S. President Joe Biden. This opens up opportunities for extensive cooperation in many fields and could have long-term impacts on the Asia-Pacific region. Regarding economics, the two sides agreed to cooperate extensively in important industries such as artificial intelligence, semiconductors, and clean energy. They also discussed promoting cooperation in the fields of aerospace and space exploration, as well as cultural cooperation and people-to-people exchanges. The two sides particularly emphasized the need to strengthen cooperation in the fields of security and defense.
For the first time, Japan and the United States.
The EU Parliament on Wednesday adopted a contentious reform of Europe's asylum policies. This reform will enforce stricter border procedures and ensure shared responsibility among all 27 nations of the bloc. Individuals arriving in the EU seeking asylum or those involved in illegal immigration will be detained at the border for classification. After a maximum period of 7 days, they will either be directed to apply for refugee status or face deportation with a maximum stay of 12 weeks. A common database will be established for each individual so that information is instantly available to other countries when immigrants are fingerprinted and photographed. More than 110,000 people have been forced to evacuate in Russia and Kazakhstan after fast-melting snow swelled the Ural River, Europe's third longest, causing it to burst its banks on April the 5th. According to authorities, as of April the 10th, more than 13,000 residential houses were flooded in Russia, mainly in the Orenburg region, with over 8,000 people having to evacuate. In the downstream area, the water level rose to a record high of 9.3 meters on April the 9th. A state of emergency has been declared in 3 Russian regions, Orenburg, Kurgan, and Tyumen. On April the 9th, Russian President Putin had a phone call with Kazakh President Tokayev to discuss the difficult flood situation in the border area of the two countries. And now let's take a look at the weather forecast. And that's it for this edition of VTV News. Thank you very much for watching. To rewatch our program, you can download VTVgo from App Store or Google Play, or tune in our YouTube channel at youtube.com/VTV4Go. Goodbye for now.